Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
So, guys, the idea came through one of our family members sent a video. I think it was Mitch. Talking about a person using a pendulum to get answers to questions, and I just immediately thought, we should share information on using a pendulum, as a pendulum is just another tool that we can use to access. Well, basically, it's like channeling. It truly is like channeling if you're able to step out of the way and allow insight to come through from guides and your angels. Again, whether we're talking pendulum for divination, tarot cards for divination, or the infamous Ouija board. Again, it's all about basically using something as a tool to communicate with beings that are not on this density. And I think it's interesting because there's a lot of people that are terrified of Ouija boards inherently. Um, and when you look at it, it's just another tool. And well, all I would basically say is always tap into the higher frequencies before you start anything. This is why when we go to get information and when we go to, um, do any sort of divination using any tool, we always start with the mantras because with the mantras, the Sanskrit mantras, we are tapping into very high frequency beings, at least fifth density, if not sixth density and higher. And we are connecting really to truly benevolent beings that are always looking to help in whatever way they are allowed. So we draw in these forces of light and love and of the natural matrix before we use anything as a tool to get information.
Oh, yeah. I mean, your practice is really important, and what you put into your body is critical, and calling in, the highest vibrations possible to surround you is also important because you want high vibrational information. You can ask for information, but that information could come from under a bridge from an entity if if you're not clearing yourself. So definitely important to clear yourself. Sage, put out something nice. But, when it comes to pendulums, those are so interesting because I have three different pendulums here and I use whichever one calls me. So in my practice, what I've learned to do is listen to the crystals, even the tuning forks, listen to the pendulums, who is wanting to work on who. And it may sound silly, but it's something that's been very, very effective. If I have a specific pendulum that is going to be more congruent with someone's energy body, well, then that one is going to call me. And that's the one that I pick up and that's the one I use. And I think the crystals are the biggest helpers. They're the ones who want to come in and say, hey, I have upgrades that this person needs and I want to give this person the upgrades. So my crystals are very important in my work, and not to mention the biofield tuning. I work with crystals and the tuning forks. Um, I have my wand that I use for checking people's chakras, and also my Reiki doll that was made for me by our beautiful Mary made me this Reiki doll. And what makes that one interesting is on the back I have meridians. I have meridian points. So if someone needs meridian work, I can do it on that Reiki, and it's very effective. So it's just been a huge blessing to have these tools, and then all the tools that I have are ex- they're sacred. They are magical. They are tools that I never thought in a million years that I would possess. But these tools came from a very gifted shaman, somebody who I absolutely adore, and I am so grateful for them. So all of my crystals, my wand, my Reiki, everything I get comes from a special place. And when you're dealing in energy, that's really, really important because tools, items can pick up bad energies. They really can. And it might not be so easy just to get them off, but these tools have been with me. They either come from someone very special, or they've made their way to me in a very unique way, let's say. So, yeah. And I mean, the cards, the Ouija board is okay. The only thing I worry about with the store bought Ouija boards is I think they have sigils on them that I'm not comfortable with. So you can make your own Ouija board with cardboard and a glass. It's so easy. It's so easy. I was really surprised the first time I made my own because I want my energy into it. So let's not forget about how important your own energy is and where your vibes are at when you get this information.
Yeah, yeah. The one thing I would say about Ouija, and again, Ouija is just, it literally means yes, yes. So it's the yes, yes board. Is the fact that, the dark corporations, well, the corporations are pretty dark, and we know they're always using different black magic rituals um, in everything from advertising to Super Bowl halftime shows to music videos, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what I would do is, if I was to use a Ouija, I would basically clear it. I would go ahead and first. I mean, this is what we do anyway. You're going to sage. And you're going to banish again any sort of malevolent and even mischievous energies, and then you're going to call in benevolent energies and go ahead and connect. I think it's more powerful to create something of your own. It always is. This dowel again is super powerful because our beloved Mary D created it, and she is very, very tied to the elementals. And when you look at the back, I mean, this was tailor made for us. As when you look into traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, um, Qigong, medical Qigong, you really do want to understand the meridian network, which we just talked about in that third lesson in that series that we just started, and we will have more upcoming videos shortly in that series. It won't be exclusively TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, or again, a Taoist point of view. We're definitely going to branch and show how really all systems are really talking about the same thing. It's just, again, flavoring. You can put, just to give you a for instance, you could, take chicken, you could take rice, you could take onions, peppers, and garlic, and you can make a Chinese dish, you can make an Italian dish, you can make a French dish, you can make it all different ways depending on what flavoring, and that's kind of like finding something that works for you to connect to your higher self and your guides and angels. It's whatever you resonate with, and that can change over time. So the use of something like a pendulum is something that you might end up using all the time, or you might find it doesn't resonate, and then you just don't use it. It's up to you. There are different ways of using a pendulum. You can make your own version of a Ouija board with a circular piece of paper and the alphabet drawn up in a circular nature, and then put the numbers corresponding points, and get communications that way. It's all up to you. This is your life. This is your path. It's meant to be unique.
It is. And I think sometimes there can be very strong dogmatic systems out there. Sometimes there's information that's really, really important, and sometimes the important information comes from inside of you. So I find it to be really important to be on a healing journey so that you have the ability to self-reflect if something comes up. Because when you start working with energy and say you're going into alignment, if you're out of alignment, you're going to feel it. There is going to be an energy that says, hey, this doesn't belong here. And many people, they simply have to face it. There's no getting around it anymore. So, but it's a good thing. It's going to make you your highest and your best self. But definitely listen to those energies when you work with this information. Have your temple clear, your home clear. uh, Drink lots of water. that's critical when you're doing energy work. You always want to drink lots of water, and that's what I tell anyone who's coming in. We're going to work on them. Please drink lots of water on the day of your session, because water is an amplifier, and water talks to the prana, water talks to the energy that's in the air, and that helps us work on the person.
Yeah, absolutely. I think again of a lot of those dark stories that come from the Ouija board, for instance. And you could find a million of them up on YouTube, ooh, scary dark stories. First thing I would ask is, were the people drunk? Were the people
Hmm.
stoned? Were the people using pharmaceutical medications that have a mind altering capacity? What was their state of mind? What was their diet like? What type of things were they putting into their temple? Because, again, what we put in, whether that's food or whether that's even frequency, like, horror movies and things like that, all that affects our vibration and our frequencies. So, again, when you grab the board, and if you are drunk or stoned, or on some sort of pharmaceutical that, again, can cause all sorts of issues, chances are you're going to get a lower astral entity. And lower astral entities tend to be, at best, mischievous and at worst, outright malevolent.
Hmm. Yeah, that's where the problems come in. It comes in with the personal responsibility of taking care of yourself, and what state are you in when you're doing the things. So, um, I can't think of anything else on this video. I think this pretty much covers like the
Well, no, I was
staples.
going to talk about your technique. Like when you grab a pendulum,
Uh-huh.
typically you read it a certain way for yes, a certain way for no. When
Hmm.
you go over the wand or the doll, as if you were checking chakras, and show
Hmm.
people how you do it.
Oh, sure. All my pendulums have been programmed already. And what you want to do, well, the when I became activated, that's when my pendulums really got wild and crazy, and they were kind of going all over. So I had to learn how to rein them in and program them. And you want to simply ask it questions. Show me yes, and it's going to swing a certain way for yes, and say, show me no. It'll swing a certain way for no. Show me maybe. And it'll swing a certain way for maybe. And then you have programmed your pendulum, but the energy that you put into it is really important. And these pendulums, they call me, so I'm usually grabbing for one particular one, but that's not just grabbing for it, that's listening to see who wants to help.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you said when you were activated, that is really truly a video unto itself. But again, it's good to touch on these things. So, um, in the past, I would say a very low percentage of humans are have been activated. Very low percent. What does that mean? That means that you literally have an active light body and a functioning pineal gland. The pineal gland comes on in stages, and as the pineal comes on and you're activating, not just basically your psychic senses, it is that, but it's more than that. You have to basically clear all the blocks in order to allow the life force to flow. I don't think there's really any system that gives us more depth and understanding to this than in Qigong and, again, the Taoist point of view, because this is what they've focused on. They've focused on spiritual development and developing, also our quote unquote paranormal abilities. This is what they focused on for thousands of years. And so, that system, I think, has the clearest, easiest to understand answers, and yet there is a lot to it. The problem that we have with this world right now, and this is getting me to think about another topic I was going to have for a different video to go up probably on evolutionary, was that it is not easy to become activated. And what's happening now in humanity is a lot of individuals are being activated, and it could be very, very disconcerting. It can look like you're in sensory overload. It could look like you might question your sanity. There's so much that all of a sudden starts to become real that was never there before. And this is what's happening. We've changed the ages. Humans are becoming activated, especially those and primarily those that have been living a cleaner lifestyle and leaning more towards the natural way of things. The more big pharma in your system, the more mind altering substances, the more difficult it can make for you to have clarity and a smoother, easier activation to take place.
Hmm. Yeah, it does. It takes a little while for things to get better because a lot of people are in trauma. So it can be rough.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, what Cindy would do is actually pick up a pendulum, and if you're going to, would you just give them a little demo of picking up and showing like going to check the root chakra?
Yeah. Yeah, give me just a second. Um, so
Because each one of these now on the dial and also on the wand, there is a designated root chakra going on up to the crown chakra, and really that wand also represents what we call the Taiji pole. And the Taiji pole is your connection to both the heavens and the earth, to the yang and the yin, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And so, typically what I want Cindy to just show what she does as she goes and just typically scans somebody when we start a session.
right. So there's a couple ways to do this, but what I would do is I would connect to the person, and in this case, I'm already connected to Mike, so I'm going to check his chakras, and you take the pendulum and you put it over the chakra, and you let it do its thing. Now, it all looks very, very good. It looks balanced. Sometimes for some people, the pendulum might be going slower. It might be going faster, but then I check each individual chakra and see where we're at, and then I look to see if there's any blocks, and if those blocks should be removed. That's what I do.
So I hope this gives you guys a little clue as to the use of a pendulum. Again, it could be used in so many ways. It could be tailored to you. You can make up your own diagram in any way, shape, or form. You might make up something that looks similar to a Ouija board, but it's yours and it's personalized. And maybe you put the symbols on there that you feel help you. Maybe you write it out in a way that resonates with you, and maybe you do that in any way. It could be a little artistic endeavor. You could do it as a painting. Again, the thing is to explore and utilize things in the manner that resonates with you. There is no definitive right or wrong. It's up for you to decide the parameters. It's up to you to figure out what language you're going to use and how you're going to use it. So, again, this is all very much about you creating your own reality, your own system, your own way in life. And that is really the crux of it.
Indeed.
As always, guys, thanks for your support on Patreon. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.